The Self-Care Routine After 50, 7 Habits for Well-Being. Self-care. What does that word mean to you? A bubble bath once in a while? A face mask on a Sunday night? Maybe it feels like a luxury you don't have time for, something you'll get around to someday. But I'm here to tell you self-care is so much more than that. It's a fundamental shift in how we prioritize ourselves, and it can transform your well-being inside and out. Let me show you how. Hi, I'm Graceful Mindz, and I help women after 50 just like you embrace their beauty, confidence, and radiance. We're juggling careers, families, relationships, maybe even caring for aging parents. Somewhere in the midst of all that, it's easy to put ourselves last. We might feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and it's easy to put ourselves last, to feel like our own needs are constantly on the back burner. But here's the truth. Prioritizing self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. Science backs this up. Research shows that self-care practices can have a profound impact on our well-being, especially after 50. For example, a study published in the Journal of Aging and Health found that older adults who engaged in regular self-care activities reported higher levels of life satisfaction and lower levels of depression. And according to the American Psychological Association, stress-reducing self-care practices can improve sleep quality, boost the immune system, and even reduce the risk of chronic diseases. So why do we readily prioritize everyone else's needs but our own, even when we know deep down how much we need it? For years, I fell into that trap too, thinking self-care was selfish, that I simply didn't have time. It took hitting a wall for me to realize that my well-being wasn't a nice to have, it was a necessity. So here are 7 habits for well-being. Habit number 1. Prioritize your pelvic floor. Want to laugh, sneeze, and exercise without worry after 50? It's possible. Let's talk about strengthening your pelvic floor. After 50, things like hormonal changes, childbirth, and just plain aging can weaken our pelvic floor, that group of muscles that basically holds everything in place down there. We're talking about bladder control, preventing prolapse, and even enjoying sex. And it's more common than you think. Studies show that many women over 50 experience some degree of incontinence or other pelvic floor issues. But strengthening those muscles can make a huge difference. It is all about improving our quality of life and feeling more in control and confident in our bodies. How I treated my leakage that happened every so often is by doing this pelvic floor exercise called Kegels. The difference it has made is incredible. More control, more confidence, and no more oops moments for me. Here's how to do them. Squeeze the muscles you'd use to stop urine flow. Hold for a few seconds and release. Aim for 3 sets of 10 to 15 Kegels throughout the day. A pelvic floor therapist can also provide personalized guidance if you need it. Habit number 2, strength training. What if I told you the best self-care routine for women over 50 involves building muscle? As we age, we start to lose muscle mass, and things that used to be easy, like carrying groceries or getting up from a chair, can become more challenging. But it doesn't have to be that way. Strength training isn't about lifting heavy weights in a gym, unless you want to. It can be as simple as using your own body weight for resistance, using resistance bands, or lifting light dumbbells. The key is to target all the major muscle groups: legs, back, chest, shoulders, arms, and core. Since the day I started it, I love the feeling of empowerment that comes with building a strong, capable body. It gave me more confidence. You can start with body weight exercises like squats, modified push-ups, and lunges. Gradually add resistance bands or light weights as you get stronger. Aim for 2 to 3 sessions per week, focusing on proper form and listening to your body. Next up, a self-care habit that's as important as exercise, but often overlooked. Habit number 3, mindful tech boundaries. In today's digital age, it's easy to feel like we're always on, constantly connected to our devices. But what if I told you that setting some mindful boundaries with your tech could be a radical act of self-care, especially after 50? How often do we find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through our phones, even when we know we have better things to do? Mindful tech boundaries help us break free from the constant distractions and demands of the digital world, allowing us to be more present in our lives. It's about creating space for what truly matters: real-life connections, hobbies, and moments of peace. This isn't about giving up technology altogether. It's about being intentional about how and when we use it. It's about setting limits that work for us, creating tech-free zones or times of day, and being more mindful of the impact technology has on our mood, focus, and overall well-being. I used to be glued to my phone, constantly checking emails and social media. I felt like I was always on, but never really present. Once I started setting some boundaries, like no phones at the dinner table and turning off notifications after a certain hour, it was like a weight lifted. I felt less stressed, more focused, and more connected to the people and activities I enjoy. It helped me to enjoy my me time more. Start small. Choose 1 or 2 boundaries that feel achievable, like no phones during meals, or designating a specific time each day to check email. Experiment with different strategies, like turning off notifications, using app timers, or creating tech-free zones in your home to find what works best for you. We have taken care of the outside world. It is time to focus on our inner world. Habit number 4, cultivate self-compassion. When was the last time you spoke to yourself with the same kindness you offer your best friend? After 50, self-compassion is a non-negotiable. Let's learn how to use it. We're navigating changes in our bodies, our roles, and maybe even facing a few regrets. It is easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism, dwelling on perceived flaws or shortcomings. We tend to be harsh on ourselves and forget to appreciate the journey we have been through. But here's the thing. Research shows that self-compassion isn't just a nice-to-have, it's crucial for our well-being. Studies have linked it to lower stress, less anxiety and depression, and greater emotional resilience. It's about recognizing that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we all deserve kindness, especially from ourselves. It is about forgiving yourself and others and moving ahead with a positive mindset. I used to be my own worst critic, constantly beating myself up over every little mistake. It wasn't easy at first, but gradually I learned to silence that inner critic and embrace my imperfections. It's been incredibly liberating. I'm more kind to myself now. Start by paying attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself being self-critical, try reframing those thoughts with more supportive and understanding language. Practice self-kindness through small acts of self-care and remind yourself that you are worthy of love and compassion just as you are. Note down how you feel after each act of kindness to yourself. Now, let's take proactive steps to safeguard our physical health. Habit number 5, regular health screenings. Still putting off those health screenings? After 50, that's a risk you can't afford to take. Let's talk about why regular checkups are a self-care essential. After 50, we can't just ignore the fact that our risk for certain health issues goes up. But that's exactly why regular health screenings become so important. They're like a roadmap to early detection. Catching things like breast cancer, high blood pressure, or even vision changes early can make a huge difference in treatment and outcomes. And it's not about being alarmist, it's about being proactive. Studies show that early detection through screenings significantly improves our chances of living a longer, healthier life. It is about making informed decisions for our health. I used to be a bit lax about scheduling regular checkups, but after seeing a close friend go through a health scare that could have been prevented with earlier detection, I made it a non-negotiable. Now I see my doctor regularly and stay up to date on all recommended screenings. It gives me peace of mind knowing I'm doing everything I can to protect my health. So, what screenings should you prioritize after 50? Talk to your doctor about the recommended guidelines for mammograms, Pap tests, colonoscopies, bone density scans, blood pressure checks, cholesterol screenings, eye and ear checkup, and any other tests based on your individual risk factors. Schedule them regularly, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Keep track of your screening schedule and results to stay organized and informed. Now let's move on to my favorite habit, and one that's often overlooked. Habit number 6, explore your creativity passion. If you're like most women over 50, it might be hard to remember, but rediscovering your passions is a vital act of self-care. We get so busy with responsibilities that we often forget about the things that make us feel truly alive. But after 50, it's time to reclaim those passions or discover new ones. It's not about becoming a master artist. It's about finding activities that spark your curiosity and bring you joy. Maybe it's painting, writing, playing music, gardening, dancing, learning a new language, whatever excites you. It's a great way to find happiness and personal satisfaction. I used to think I didn't have a creative bone in my body, but then I started taking a pottery class on a whim, and I was hooked. There's something so satisfying about shaping clay with my own hands. It's become my go-to way to de-stress and reconnect with myself. I found a passion I never knew I had. Not sure where to start? Reflect on activities you enjoyed in the past, or try something completely new that sparks your interest. Sign up for a class, join a group, or simply set aside some time each week to explore your chosen passion, even if it's just for 15 to 20 minutes. Look for a creative outlet that speaks to you. There are many ways to express yourself. And now, for our final habit, let's talk about reassessment. Habit number 7, regular assessment. You know, it's funny, but after 50, I've found it's more important than ever to pause and ask myself, am I truly on the right track? Life at this stage brings so many transitions, career shifts, kids leaving the nest, evolving relationships, and it's easy to just keep going through the motions. We get caught up in routines and responsibilities, and sometimes we forget to check in with ourselves. Regular assessment is about making sure we're living a life that feels authentic, meaningful, and aligned with our values. It's not about making drastic changes overnight, but taking stock of what's working, what's not, and consciously choosing to let go of things that no longer serve us, while embracing new possibilities that excite us. This simple habit can increase our overall well-being and happiness. Start by scheduling regular reflection time, maybe once a month or even once a quarter. Ask yourself, what's working well in my life? What could be improved? Are my current goals and priorities still aligned with my values? Based on your reflection, take action. It can be decluttering your space, setting a new boundary in a relationship, or finally pursuing that dream you've put on hold. Big or small, make sure it is for your own happiness. Remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's an investment in your long-term well-being. You deserve to feel amazing inside and out. Start small, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every step you take on this journey. And if you're ready to take your transformation to the next level, I've got just the thing. How to get radiant skin after 50. 7 secrets that helped me. And let's complete your journey to radiant health.